When I was a kid, when I was like 15 and 16 or 14, I also wanted to transition at that time. I was very young. I wanted to transition at the age of 12 or 9 as well. Like, if you ask me, I wanted to transition as young as possible. But as an adult person right now, I know for sure if I would have transitioned at that time, at the age of 9, at the age of 15 or 14, I would not have been the way I am, and I would not have learned so much that I have learned with my experiences. And now I can really decide what I would have missed if I would have transitioned at that age. Because I would have missed growing up as myself. I would have missed my drive, my sex drive especially, because it, like, transition late allows me to have my sex drive, and it allowed me to be comfortable with my anatomy, because at that time I was ashamed of my anatomy. I was ashamed of that stuff down there. I wanted to get rid of it. I wanted to not look at it. I never wanted to even imagine that if anybody else can look at it or see it or anything. Yeah, I have a kind of phobia from that part of mine. But when I grew up, I became fine with my body. Basically, I did not want to ruin my body. I got confident about myself that no, I'm fine with at least that part. Then I realized it's not that makes me a woman or man. I know who I am from my mind. I always knew who I am. When you transition, you want also the people to perceive you the same way that you see yourself. And for that, nobody's looking in my trousers when I'm going out. People are only seeing my outer appearance. So I wanted to match my outer appearance with my internal mind that I felt about myself, so that I have a smooth life. In childhood, I never wanted ever to have my partner who can see me with that. But when I grew up, I suddenly become a bit comfortable with my anatomy. So that's why I'm not rushing into my SRS or bottom surgery, because now I know I'm not that desperate that I want a butch surgery. Because a lot of people make this mistake that they're so dysphoric about that anatomy, that part of their anatomy, they rush to surgeries, and a lot of time they rush to a wrong type of surgery because they are so desperate to get rid of it. And when I grew till that age, when I'm an adult, I realized, of course, it would be nicer if I have SRS. It would be nicer if I have surgery, if I will have a different functioning anatomy. But I'm not that desperate to get rid of it that I will end up ruining it and risk for having non-functioning anatomy. So it helps a lot. I can only suggest people, okay? I don't want to dictate people like some of the far-right conservatives do, because what they do is they want to dictate people what they should do, what they shouldn't do. And I'm not that type of person. I mean, if somebody still want to have it, by all means they can have it. But I think the ideal thing would be if they are aware of what anatomy they have, how it can function, because your anatomy down there, it functions differently when you're a child, and it functions differently when you're an adult. And a lot of sensation and a lot of perks, intimate perks, you figure out when you're an adult rather than when you're a kid. So that's why it's not ideal for a kid, for a child, to have those type of surgeries or to ruin their body at that stage, because they wouldn't know how it will be like when they grow up. I can only advise that don't do it at that age. See how it works out for you. I think if you transition at the age of 19, 20 and above, you can still have really good results of your transition. In older days, people used to call, yeah, she's just a tomboy. She's just, she just likes sports, or he's just effeminate, a little bit flamboyant in his nature. But we never used to match those type of characteristics with transition. But nowadays, a lot of people instantly think about transition straight away, and that is not the right way to think about it, because that way a child can get really confused about this. So people need to really be careful how they want to approach it. You can lend the support to your child, be empathetic towards it, but don't try to feed their mind that just because they have certain characteristics, they are this or they are that. That's why I mean, surgeries are not right for everyone at that age. There are some very genuine trans people who are very sure from the beginning who they are. And I know, for example, if I was 9-year-old, if I would still have had a surgery, maybe I wouldn't care as much about my anatomy or something. I would have the surgery. I would still be maybe alright, I guess. But I don't see that I would have done anything very differently if I would even have had a surgery. My life would have been fairy tale or something. I don't think so. My life would have still be the same. So why risking surgery at that stage when you can actually have your childhood and your teenage years in a smooth way, and there's a lot of time for surgery. You can still have it.